changed everything. Before this story begins, before a single word of it unfolds, I need you to do one thing. Just one. Subscribe to this channel, not because I'm asking you to, but because what you are about to hear is not content. It is not entertainment. It is not something you put on in the background while you do something else. What you are about to hear is the kind of story that finds the quiet, tender part of you and sits there. The kind that makes you put your phone down. The kind that makes you think of someone, a parent, a sibling, someone you love deeply, and wonder when you last truly talked to them. Not texted, not checked in, talked. If you have ever believed you fully understood someone, only to realize one ordinary night that there were entire rooms inside them you had never entered. This story is for you. And once you hear what my father confessed to me past midnight, standing in the doorway with trembling hands and an unsteady voice, you will understand why some knocks are not just knocks. Some knocks are invitations. Some knocks are apologies. Some knocks, the ones that arrive when the whole world is asleep, are the ones that split your life into before and after. Subscribe now, and please, listen carefully, because this one matters. I did not expect the knock, not at that hour. Not delivered in that particular way. And certainly not from him. It landed against my bedroom door just after midnight. Not urgent, not loud, not the frantic kind that signals emergency. It was deliberate, patient, the kind of knock that does not ask "Are you awake?" but instead quietly asks something far heavier. "Are you ready?" My phone was still glowing in my hand. I had been lying there, half drifting, in that strange foggy space between consciousness and sleep, when my thumb had landed on an old photo I did not remember opening. A picture from another version of our life. Another version of us, before everything changed, before grief moved into our house and rearranged all the furniture. The house around me was completely still. That particular silence that only exists long after everyone else has surrendered to sleep. Even the refrigerator humming somewhere downstairs felt too present. Too loud, like the whole house had drawn a breath and refused to let it go. Then came his voice. "Linda, are you awake?" My chest seized immediately. My father, Robert, did not come to my room past midnight. He simply did not. He was a man entirely constructed of routine. Early mornings, predictable evenings, lights out by 10. Glasses folded neatly on the nightstand. Alarm set. Tomorrow already organized inside his head before his eyes even closed. Midnight was not his hour. It belonged to no version of him I had ever known. And the way he said my name, there was something fractured in it. A hesitation I had never heard from him before. The kind of tremor that lives in a person's voice when they have been rehearsing something for hours and still do not feel ready to say it. My mind moved fast. Was he sick? Had something happened? Had I done something without realizing it? Was it the kind of news you only deliver in the dark because daylight makes it too real? I steadied my voice the best I could. "Yeah, Dad. You can come in." The door opened slowly, not all the way. That was the first thing that felt wrong, not dramatically wrong, but quietly, precisely wrong. My father was not a man of half measures. Doors were opened or they were closed. He did not leave things unfinished, unresolved, dangling in between. That half-open door felt like a confession before any words had been spoken. Like he was unsure whether he had earned the right to enter this moment. The hallway light stretched in behind him, pulling his shadow long and unfamiliar across my bedroom floor. He was still in his flannel shirt. Sleeves pushed to the elbows, the way they get when someone has been pacing, moving through a house in the dark. Rehearsing, backing out, starting over. His shoulders looked heavier than I had ever seen them. Not physically, but in the way that emotional weight eventually becomes visible. The way exhaustion that has nothing to do with sleep begins to show in the body. "I didn't mean to wake you," he said. "You didn't," I told him. That was only partially true. I had been fading, drifting, but the energy rolling off him, tense, careful, charged, had snapped me completely awake the moment his voice reached me. He stepped inside, but did not sit. Instead, he moved to the edge of my dresser, and held it, both hands wrapped around the corner of it, like he needed something solid just to remain upright. Like he was afraid that if he let go, whatever he had come here to say might scatter. That frightened me more than the knock ever could. I had watched this man handle broken things, broken pipes, broken budgets, broken moments that would have brought other people to their knees. I had watched him navigate grief with a stillness that I mistook for strength and only later understood was survival. But I had never, not once in my entire life, seen him need to hold on to something just to stand in a room. My heart was pounding. Not from fear, I realized later, from recognition. The way your body sometimes understands that something important is arriving before your mind can name it. I'm not really sure how to say this, he said. Those 8 words hit me harder than anything that followed, because my father always knew how to say things. He was not a man of many words, but the ones he used were chosen, measured, deliberate. To hear him standing in my doorway, unsteady, unprepared, reaching for something he could not quite hold, that told me more than any sentence could. "What's wrong?" I asked. He glanced toward the hallway, then back at me. "It's nothing you did," he said quickly. "I need you to know that first." The knot in my chest did not loosen. If anything, it pulled tighter. He finally lowered himself onto the edge of my bed. But he left space between us, a careful, intentional gap, as though he was afraid of crossing into something that required permission. "I realized something tonight," he said. "I haven't been as honest with you as I should have been." "Honest?" I repeated. "I don't mean I lied," he said, and exhaled slowly. "I mean I kept things folded away. Things I should have let you see." He stared down at his hands, turning them over slowly. "Your mom," he started, and the room shifted. It always does when she comes up. 3 years gone, but her name still carries weight. Still presses on something that never quite finished healing. Talking about her felt like pressing on a bruise that had never been given enough time, enough space, enough tenderness to close. "She was so much better at this," he said quietly. "At feelings. At reaching into the difficult things and finding the right words for them." His voice was so soft I almost missed what came next. "After she passed, I tried to fill that space. I tried to be everything at once, the steady one, the provider, the one who kept the lights on and the calendar moving." He paused. "I don't think I did a very good job of being your father through any of it." I did not speak. I was afraid that if I did, I might break whatever fragile thing he was finally allowing to surface. "I noticed you pulling away," he continued. "Spending more time in your room, keeping things to yourself. And I watched it happen, Linda. I watched it and I told myself you needed space. That you were grieving in your own way. That you would come to me when you were ready." He shook his head slowly. "But the truth is, I was scared. I was scared that if I pushed, you would tell me how badly I had failed you. And I couldn't bear that." That word settled into the room like something physical. Failed. "So I kept my distance," he said. "I kept moving. I kept functioning. Because that was the only thing I knew how to do. I had not expected this. Not the vulnerability. Not the honesty. Not the quiet devastation of a man confessing to the exact thing I had spent 3 years silently grieving. That we had lost each other without either of us meaning to." "Dad," I whispered. He looked up at me then, fully, and his eyes held something I had never seen in them before. Not weakness, but openness. The kind that takes more courage than any kind of strength I had ever admired in him. "I love you," he said. "And I don't want to keep losing ground with you. I don't want to keep watching you from a distance and calling it respect." My throat was tight. My eyes were burning. "I came here tonight because I want to understand you again," he said. "I want us to be able to talk, to trust each other, to stop being 2 people who live in the same house and share meals and somehow still feel like strangers." He let out a long breath. "You are not alone," he said. "Not now. Not while I'm here." For a moment I could not speak. The room felt too full. Full of all the things we had never said. All the silence we had let harden between us. All the grief we had each carried separately, when we could have been carrying it together. I reached out and placed my hand over his. "You didn't fail me," I said. "I just didn't know how to come to you either." His shoulders dropped just slightly, like something that had been wound tight for years, finally began to release. The next morning looked the same. But everything felt different. Sunlight came through my curtains the way it always did. The house made the same sounds, and yet, something essential had shifted. Like a window had been opened in a room that had been sealed shut for far too long. When I came downstairs, the kitchen smelled like coffee and something warm. Pancakes. He was standing at the stove, spatula in hand, hair slightly messy, wearing the same flannel shirt. When he heard me, he turned and his face softened in a way I had not seen in years. "Morning, kiddo," he said. I stopped. He hadn't called me that since before she died. "They're a little burned," he added, sliding a plate toward me. "Just how I like them." I laughed, genuinely, fully, and it surprised us both. We ate mostly in silence. But it was not the heavy silence of two people avoiding each other. It was the easy kind. The kind that doesn't need to be filled. That afternoon, he asked if I wanted to drive. No destination, just movement. Windows cracked, autumn pouring in. Old roads unwinding beneath us like something from a different chapter. He pulled over at an overlook above the valley. We sat there watching the light change on the hills below. "I lost more than your mother when she died," he said eventually. "I lost the part of me that knew it was okay to need help. She was the one who reminded me of that. And when she was gone, I forgot." He looked at me. "There were nights I didn't think I could do this. Be enough for you. Keep this family whole with just the two of us. I wish you had told me," I said. "I know," he said quietly. "I thought I was protecting you. I understand now that I was just making us both lonelier." He turned back to the valley. "I'm not a perfect man, Linda. I never was. But I am trying. And I need you to know that even when I don't say it right, even when I go quiet, I am always trying." Something loosened deep inside me. Some long-held tightness I had stopped noticing the way you stop noticing a sound that's been playing for years. "I don't need perfect," I said. "I never did. I just need you to be here." "I am," he said. "I promise you." That night was not about revelations or buried secrets or dramatic confessions. It was about two people, a father and a daughter, realizing that grief had built a wall between them that neither had intended and both had the power to take down. It was about the courage it takes to knock on a door at midnight when you are not sure of your welcome. About the bravery it takes to say, "I love you and I think I've been getting this wrong," to someone you would do anything for. My father did not just knock on my bedroom door that night. He knocked on everything that had gone quiet between us. On the distance we had mistaken for space. On the silence we had confused with peace. And when I said come in, for the first time in 3 years, I meant it completely. If this story found something in you, if it reminded you of someone you have been meaning to reach, a conversation you have been putting off, a door you have been standing outside of, do not wait for midnight. Start the conversation. Because sometimes, the bravest thing a person can do is simply knock. And sometimes, the most healing thing you can do is answer. If this touched you, share it with someone who needs to hear it. And if you haven't yet, subscribe to Seductive Chronicles.